The return of my Coin Lady channel brings me much joy. Now is the moment to gather your belongings and be ready for what I continue to believe will be a monumental October for Bitcoin. Although there has been a small retracement, the underlying picture is still quite optimistic when you look past the surface level. In this video, I'll explain why I'm not freaking out about October, plus a couple other important things, so please like and subscribe if you find this helpful. Now, let's begin. This graphic from Crypto Rover is where I want to begin. The charts he has been releasing recently are rather nice. They compare October 2023 to past years, which followed the same trend, but they focus on the bull market or having years rather than October's performance. As we enter October, we usually see a correction followed by a complete and utter explosion. A 7% drop into October was followed by a huge move last year, even when looking at historical data. Thus, October often fools people. Keep in mind that September is a perfect illustration of how the market can behave in opposition to popular belief. We deviated from the consensus that September would see a fall of 4 to 5%. A 10% increase was really achieved. Everyone thought October would be a pumping month. The issue with the Bitcoin market is that everyone expects everything to happen instantly. Thus, going into October, everyone anticipates a massive market shift. Not at all. After that, people switch places. The whole Iran-Middle East crisis is obviously counterproductive. This, however, warrants attention. Never let the lack of immediate price action deceive you if you are a long-term investor in Bitcoin or if you are greedy for profit. During these crucial months of October and November, we have a good idea that the fourth quarter will be quite busy. On top of that, we have confirmed sightings of BlackRock's Dubai launch. They did, in fact, take a little break. But check out these other great shares that have recently arrived: 873 Bitcoin, Franklin Templeton 112 Invest Core 120, and a whole lot more. In regards to Bitcoin and these ETF products, there are still some really large wallets out there. Once again, they are highly favorable from an institutional standpoint. Take a look at the 5,000 Bitcoin that BlackRock bought in the past 7 days. As we approach the weekend, stay tuned for more tomorrow. Buy BlackRock on weekends if you're a fan. Although we often like to avoid large market movements, I think this one will be fascinating to watch, particularly because BlackRock predicts that Bitcoin's volatility will keep falling. As Bitcoin reaches its long-term investment stability, its volatility is expected to decrease. You don't require my instruction in this matter, that much is obvious. Still, widen your view if you're still confused. The price of Bitcoin, when you look at it, just goes up. That's why Michael Saylor and others are speculating about Bitcoin's worth $1 million. Bitcoin, according to Michael Saylor, will continue to rise in value over the next decade, reaching $30 million. The idea that BlackRock will publicly state that volatility is easy and explain why they are purchasing from more and more institutions is the crux of the matter. The truth is that more and more people are starting to notice what's happening. The feeling that underlies it is discussed in a current sentiment chart, which is rather intriguing. Everyone is in the yellow phase when we observe this kind of traveling sideways. Nobody can say for sure what's going to transpire. Everyone freaks out if the market drops. We're all going to go to zero, and the 30,000 believers emerge from hiding. What does it happen? Quite the contrary is true in the market. This is something that deserves serious consideration. In fact, we have industry insiders sharing their thoughts on the current market situation, the reasons Bitcoin is keeping its value, and their extra enthusiasm for what's to come in the near future. As the US dollar found its low, Bitcoin too fell for a few days before reaching its high. We are now in the present, when the US dollar has just broken out of its downward trend. Bitcoin appears to be under pressure from them, at least temporarily. Now, as you can see on the channel, we are clearly tracking with DX and Y. At point 3, there is a large move, and the SP 500 is as well. People de-risk when the risk level rises, because they dislike risky assets. They are shifting their investments into what they perceive as safer assets, such as Nvidia, which has seen a 3.5% increase. The VIX and the Japanese yen both show minor movements. The SP 500's volatility index is beginning to rise as well, at around 8%. As a result, most individuals stop using these players. Moreover, continues by discussing the DXY, stating that there is some potential for the DXY to have somewhat more success in this regard. Now we can move on to the 102nd psychological level, which is roughly 1/118th of a degree. Quite a bit of resistance is located above the 1 or 2.3 swing bottoms. Be on the lookout for rejections. They may signal that the party is starting to heat up for assets, and perhaps even the stock market, which would be fantastic news for Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. Be on the lookout for these macroeconomic players, as they will indicate a relaxation in decision-making. And remember, too. Additionally, in November, we will also discuss the possibility of a rate cut. Lastly, and this is somewhat out of left field, but I truly believe it's worthwhile, a documentary, an HBO TV show, and so much more is purportedly releasing the material that will reveal the identity of Satoshi Nakamoto. Concerning the political implications of this, I am now unconcerned. That the identity of Satoshi Nakamoto may soon be revealed. The important thing is that we're going for the mainstream. Right now, retail is the most important stimulus, and it needs to come in waves. For the time being, this will cause prices to rise. We're getting some highly speculative players here, as well as those folks who are only here for the short-term festivities and not the long haul. And I believe it's worth considering, especially as we begin to examine this. I have no doubt that we will begin to attract new participants to the cryptocurrency market after seeing the HBO documentary, which promises to be an intriguing subject. Thus, let's examine the current state of Bitcoin. Holding 60,700 is a good minor move, as we discussed yesterday. During the day, we crossed over 61,000, causing a slight pullback. However, we are once again following this fascinating pattern. On a positive note, we have printed a higher high on this chart, which is always good news. We are now beginning to push upwards, holding off the 50-day and 100-day simple moving averages, which have both begun to move higher. This could provide some relief. We are also starting to move back above the retest of the $64.5 $1,000 break line that we have been discussing. The super long 200-day simple moving average is also pulling down a little, as expected. As you can see, the RSI divergence is also red. Therefore, a solid several days are required. But here's the intriguing part: if you look at this on the weekly candle, it matches what I was talking about earlier on my live stream, where we cover all things cryptocurrency, every day at 4 p.m. Eastern. We have never seen a decline like this before. However, the arrival of these movements signaled an additional upward push. That pattern is definitely inside that, but take a step back and see the bigger picture. Compared to candles that have been lit recently, this one is far lower. As a matter of fact, a complete downturn once a month, once a week. There will be a little more optimism for Bitcoin on the weekly charts if we can observe this type of green trend next week. Anticipate a continuation of the upward trend. In fact, the pattern will remain relevant. We will remain vigilant and watch for any signs of a possible rally above 64,000, which would be highly encouraging. Your attention in seeing my video is greatly appreciated. When you're done, hit that subscribe button and let me know what you think.